Welcome to Alaska's political pipeline. Of course, today was Inauguration Day. Donald Trump is now the 47th President of the United States. He took office at noon East Coast time. But joining us live to talk about that and a few other topics is our senior national correspondent, Peter Zampa. Peter, let's talk a little bit about the inauguration. It was a little bit different. They changed the venue. Can you talk a little bit about the changes we saw this year?
Yeah, Tracy, it was a last-minute change, too. So, I mean, you saw what happened today. It looked all seamless, but we only found out a few days ago they were going to move this thing inside. So the logistics that surround this, the perimeter that they already had in mind to secure this entire Capitol complex, a lot of that just went out the window. And you also had a lot of disappointed Trump supporters who are in town, who spent some of them thousands and thousands of dollars to be here. Their plans changed as well. They had to move into Capital One Arena. Not everyone who was going to go to the inauguration can fit in Capital One Arena, so disappointment on that front. But as far as the actual ceremony, it seemed to play out quite well. Donald Trump said he enjoyed how it took place. They were also able to fit a lot of his supporters inside the Capitol Visitor Center, so they may not have been in the room with him, but he addressed them after the fact. So that also worked out as this audible took place. So yeah, the optics weren't the same as usual. You don't get those overhead shots of the National Mall just packed with people. That is always a bit awe-inspiring, but it still worked out nonetheless.
And so give us, what was the kind of overall theme for the president's inauguration speech?
Well, Tracy, the stated theme was unity. He wanted to bring the American people together. Throughout the speech, he mentioned unity. He mentioned the word unifying. He talked about wanting to be that president, no matter where you stand on the political aisle. But there was pretty clear language in there that was critical of Democrats and Democrats alone. Really saying his efforts going forward are to undo a lot of what Joe Biden has done over the last 4 years, whether it be on energy policy, immigration policy, the economy, of course, a sore point for a lot of Republicans. So while he pledged to be this president for Democrats as well, it was pretty clear that most of his language was simply hammering them throughout this 30-minute speech.
And one of the things we've been watching as we're heading up to the inauguration and the second Trump presidency was several discussions about sort of a political retribution for people that he's seen as have come after him. Tell me a little bit about that. Do we know anything going forward with that?
Well, he views himself as the tip of this spear that's going to fight back against what he calls the weaponization of the Justice Department. 4 indictments, state and federal. He thinks that Democrats are part of this cabal that's just simply coming after him for no reason. And he pledged to his supporters throughout his entire campaign that he would try to fix that. Today, he alluded to it once more, saying that there is a weaponization in the Justice Department, and he wants to bring balance back to the Justice Department. He said this during his inaugural address. As for actual retribution, well, on the one hand, Joe Biden at the last minute pardoned a lot of folks who may have been on the receiving end of some of that retribution. People on the January 6th committee, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and Trump, after his inaugural address, was seemingly upset that he went ahead and did these last-minute pardons. So maybe he did have plans in the works there. However, his attorney general, his pick for attorney general, Pam Bondi, in a committee hearing just this last week, would not entertain any hypotheticals. No real nominee in the confirmation process wants to deal in hypotheticals, but she was asked time and time again whether she would go after political opponents, and she would not answer the question. So right now, it's a real unknown exactly how they want to use this new Justice Department.
Peter, thank you so much. Our Gray Television senior national reporter, Peter Zampa, in Washington today. Thanks for the information. We appreciate it.